Guys, how are you doing? What the hell is that? I don't even know what that is. We are going on a 4-day trip up into Wisconsin here on Memorial Day weekend, and we're going to be putting on quite a few miles. I'm guessing probably around anywhere from 600 to 800 miles. So we're going to be riding quite a bit, so there's some things that I need to do to get the X3 ready for the trip. Just some little things that I got to do. I need to put a new air filter in. I have to clean the belt out, and I'm going to switch my belts, put a brand new belt in there, and keep the old one for spare. I'm not going to do that on camera for you guys. I mean, I'm sure you can figure out how to change your air filter. I'm putting in, I don't even know where it's at. It's around here somewhere. I'm putting a twin air filter in. So I got to put that in here yet. It's been sitting around for quite a while. The belt that I'm putting in is a Evo Evolution belt. Gonna put that in, and then I will actually show you guys how to change the front and rear oil in the diff. In the rear, I believe it's 42 ounces. In the front, it's 14. I was reading the service manual. In one place it says 14, the next place it says 17 in the front. So I think it's determining if you have smart lock or not. Smart lock and everything will be the higher amount would be the 17, and then I don't have smart lock in this year. I think this is one of the last years it didn't have smart lock in the front end, which I've never had it, so I don't miss it. So that's a good thing, I guess. But I'm going up with a guy. He has a brand new X3 XDS, and then I think his buddy has a Razor, and then John is coming with us. You guys have met John. We've worked on his Maverick 1000 quite a bit. He's coming up. I'm bringing the oldest boy with me, and so he's 13 years old, so we're gonna try to give him some drive time on the trails, and that's about it. So we'll get this oil changed. I am using, for the oil, I'm going to be using Amsoil 7540. These are really cool because they're in a package like this. So they say you don't have to use a funnel. It's easy pack, less mess, less waste. We'll see. So we're going to get that done. We're still waiting on getting the ZR1 in and getting window tint on it. Last week just didn't work out. He was busy, I was busy, something like that. We just missed each other when it came to phone calls. So I'm going to try to give him a phone. He gave me his personal cell phone number. So I'm going to try to get a hold of him so he can put on this window tint and fix that scratch on the back end there. We got her all washed up. She was getting pretty dirty, so we got it all washed up. I put a little bit of wax on the hood and on the sides here to shine it up a little bit, put some on the top. Still got to vacuum her out. My shoes have been dirty in there, so I got to vacuum it out. And then I washed the sheets that my mom sewed up together for me to put on a car cover for it, so I need to get the car cover on it, but I think we're going to get her out today. It's been raining, which sucks. I got to probably get it out in the rain and get it to him, but I really do want to get that window tint put on. So he's charging me, I think, $100 to get that window tint on, guys. So if you were curious of how much it costs to get window tint on a car, he said it's $100 for just the front two windows here. So the side and the passenger window, $100. So if you're paying significantly more than $100, I'd beware. I don't know what material that this guy uses, but I've had nothing but good things said about him, so we're going to stick with him. The reason I haven't got it done during the work week from somebody else is because he also does a lot of paint stuff. He does a lot of restoration. He does the chemical coat or the ceramic coating and stuff, and I want him to get the scratch out. I just don't want to bring it to a guy that's just does window tint. So that's that. Another thing I need to get done to the XDX is I've been riding a lot in the mud. Come on, baby. And Jesus. And as you can see down in here, half of my radiator is just packed full of mud. And when I was up at my mom's house during Easter, I noticed it was overheating a little bit. So we're going to have to get that cleaned out before we go up too. So I'm going to start with that. Actually, I'm going to change the oil first, so I'm not laying around in some water. So we'll get the front and rear diff changed, belt changed, air cleaner changed, and then we'll wash it. So, all right, guys, rear differential. This is the differential and the transmission are built in the same. So your drain plug is right here, center plug underneath your skid plates, the 17 millimeter. Get this set up right here for you. Not too dirty in the rear. It says, like I said, 1,500 miles on it. It's never been changed. The reason I'm changing it, I should have changed it earlier. I like to change the engine and the transmission and the front differential, you know, like 200-300 miles after you buy the side-by-side, just to get the steel and all the stuff, the impurities that's been built up inside of it, you know, the grime from building the motor, the initial break-in, stuff like that. So I like to get that stuff out of here, but it just didn't work out like that. Like I said, I'm at 1,500 miles, so we're gonna let that drain, and I'll show you guys here. There's a magnet at the end of this plug, and I'll show you why it's so important to drain your oil sooner than 1,500 miles in your front and rear differential. And if you guys can see this, that's why. Get a zip tie here. All that right there, guys, that is all built up steel. That's all sludge that's been in the motor, or been in the transmission, the front and rear diff. So all this in here is all, I don't know if you can see that, I hope you can, that's all metal shavings. That isn't a sign of something going bad on your first oil change on your front and rear diff. What it is it's impurities, like I said, from the initial break-in. Now if you start seeing that in your second and third oil change, you're probably just abusing it. Again, nothing to really worry about. When you start seeing not shavings but chunks, then you want to be concerned. So I'm going to clean this plug off here, going to reinstall it, and I'll show you where the fill plug is, and you put 42 ounces back in it. Okay guys, I got that now cleaned out. That's how much steel was in there. So that's just to give you an idea. Always use new crush washers. I'm not. I don't have any. So I'm going to go put this back in. And then for your fill cap is right here. I'll get the flashlight here for you quick. There's your fill cap. I believe that's a 15 millimeter. Pull that out. It also has a dipstick on it. Put your 42 ounces in. Once you get your 42 ounces in, check it on the dipstick. If the dipstick says you need a little bit more, make sure you're on flat ground. But if the dipstick says that you need a little bit more, go ahead and add a little bit more. Well guys, I'm wrong. That was 17 millimeter. just like the drain plug itself. This here is Amsoil Severe Gear Lube, 100% synthetic. You're going to want 75, 140 is what Can-Am recommends. And this is 1 quart. So 1 quart is 32 fluid ounces. So we're going to want to put this whole thing in there, plus a little bit more of the next. Just remember, guys, good rule of thumb, and not saying it's stupid or anything, but always put your drain plug back in. Always remember that. I know it sounds stupid, but I have done it to cars. I've put 4 quarts of oil in cars and realized, oh shit, I have 4 quarts of oil on the floor now. So just a reminder. These are pretty nice. I would recommend using a funnel yet. They are nice. They'd be nice to carry, you know, out on the field or something where you don't have a funnel all the time. The front's going to be a little bit harder to do without a funnel, but we're going to see if those little packages will do it. I got 32 ounces in there right now. All I'm going to do is check the dipstick just real quick, just to make sure that I'm getting on the dipstick, and then put 10 more ounces in there. All right, guys, after putting in 42 ounces, I am right there on the dipstick. I'm on the first notch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add probably 3 or 4 more ounces and get right in the center of this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then call it good, and we'll work on the front. So if you guys put in 42 ounces and you're right at the bottom of the dipstick like I am, I just go ahead and add a few more. A little bit, it's not going to hurt, it's not going to do anything, so just put in a few more ounces just so you know. All right? On your front end differential, right underneath the side-by-side, there's going to be a little hole on your skid plate here. It is going to be, I believe, a 5mm Allen right here. Go ahead and take this bolt out, and this is going to be your drain plug. Now, to measure 14 ounces, you can do 2 things. You can either have a measuring cup and measure out 14 ounces and put that back in the front differential, or I got oil on me. Or you can catch this in a container and just add the exact same amount as you take out, put back in. That's another way of doing it. So what I'm going to do, since there's no measuring deal on this bag whatsoever, I don't know exactly how much is left in there. I'm actually going to go and rob one of the old lady's measuring cups up in the kitchen that has ounces on it. And if I can't find one, then I'm going to have to do some math. So like a half a quart would be 16 ounces. So I'm going to need right in between, you know, a little under 16 ounces. Of course, you guys know cups. You got to convert your cups into your quarts. What is there, 4 quarts in a cup? So you guys are smart enough to figure that one out. So the easiest method would be to catch what you take out and put that amount right back in. All right. Why this is leaking or dripping or draining or whatever you want to call it, on the passenger side of the side-by-side, right next to your drive shaft here, or not your drive shaft, your axle, is going to be your fill plug. Now, it's not an easy place to get to. The easiest thing to do is to use your container there, but use a chunk of hose. Put the chunk of hose in the hole and run it up to your container. Another thing you can use is some kind of a flex funnel, but you're going to need something to get in there, and it's not easy. I thought I could get it with that Amsoil thing. It's not going to even fit down in there. So, and then up above it, if you guys can see that, that's a good indication usually when there's a little square with milliliters. It says 400 milliliters. Now, if you convert that into ounces, it's 13.5 ounces. So that's how much fluid you're going to want. So if you were ever in a bind and you don't want to look it up, usually on even dirt bikes, right on the case, it'll say something like that. And that's just an indication of how much oil goes back in there. Just FYI. Alrighty? All right, guys. 8mm Allen. Okay, now remember, always put the drain plug back in before you start filling. Alright guys, I went up to the kitchen and stole one of the wife's measuring cups. It has ounces here, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, goes up 16 ounces. Little disclaimer, don't ask your wife for permission. Just go ahead and grab it from the kitchen and then clean it, put it back where you found it. It's just easier to not ask. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go for 13, 14. I'm going to go ahead and put 15 ounces in here. Just for the simple fact, I'm using a funnel. And I know some's going to be stuck in the funnel. So I'm just going to go with that. This is about empty here. And I'm going to try my funnel. I don't know if it's going to fit in the hole. If not, then I'm going to have to go get some hose or find some hose around here. Let's see here. Weasel it down and alright, got her in there. Okay, we're going to try that. I have the drain plug in. Get it in the hole here. Now just give that a minute to run down the funnel, and then also make sure that you had your funnel in the hole. Make sure that you just don't have a mess down there. If something like that does happen, guys, the best thing to do is, I just got a little bit down there, not too much. Best thing to do if that ever does happen, your funnel slips out and you lose a bunch of oil, best thing to do is just go ahead and cut your losses, drain it again, put in 14 ounces. So we're going to go ahead and put that fill back in, or that cap back in, and then give it a good washing. So if you guys have any questions or anything, please ask. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. I do a lot of content on the side-by-side and on the Corvette. Like I said, here Memorial Day weekend we'll be going up and doing a good ride, so I'm gonna plan on taking a lot of videos of that with all the guys. Nothing really fantastic, I just want to show you guys the trails up there. They're really fun, really nice, easy trails. So we'll get this finished up here, and you guys have a good rest of your week.